Well, good morning or evening if you're in a different time zone as one of our guests are today, given we have Ronan from Ireland, but we're glad you joined us today. Welcome to Lightbulb Moments, our 96th episode. Episode number 100 is coming up very soon, and we're going to be doing some special things starting with episode number 100. So we're looking forward to that. Thanks for joining us today. Remember, money isn't the most important thing in life, but it is like oxygen on the gotta have it scale. I'm Tom Qnity from Qnity. I'm your host here and curator. If you're watching this on YouTube, great. I think you'll love this session. I know I loved my prep time with Ronan. So thanks for joining us if you're live or watching it by YouTube. At Qnity, we're here to make what's complicated, overwhelming, and confusing into a simpler and clearer path towards financial success using the new rules of engagement, which is simple, visual, and actionable. Last week, we had Laura Graven on, and great guest. I really loved this whole idea here, consistency versus intensity. I've actually thought about that a lot since the last roundtable. A little airs my own personal life, but anyway, Laura did a great job. It's recorded on YouTube. Check it out. This week, we have Ronan, the CEO and founder of Forest, joining us from Dublin. I believe it's Dublin. If that's the case, give me a thumbs up, Ronan. Are you in Dublin today? Perfect. All right. We'll get to Ronan in a little bit. He's going to share some really impactful information, and I'm very excited about it. It's going to be a lot about marketing and consumer insights. We've spent a lot of time in the roundtable talking about the compensation study and workforce related research, but this particular research, I think, is very actionable. So back to the compensation study, which is a standing topic every week. Things are moving along. We still need more participation. In many cases, some of you might have completed step 1 and 2, but you still need step number 3. There's a few moving parts to this, but it is worthwhile. The data that's coming in is absolutely fascinating. We had a formal closing of the data collection on Monday. However, we have extended that. We want as many people to be part of this as possible. So don't let this discourage you. Send an email to our team and we'll see if we can still get you in. We definitely do want to get you in. So if you haven't signed up yet, just go to the website, hit participate in the study, and then it takes you through the next steps. We need to have new points of reference on compensation and pro beauty. Some of the data that's out there is flawed, imperfect, and the impact of this on the industry is quite a bit more staggering than I even realized. So with a lot of passion, we're moving forward with this project. And by participating, not only will you help change the narrative about what a career in the professional beauty industry looks like, you also get a great report with some amazing findings, a report that I've never seen before. So anyway, certainly participate in the study. At Qnity, we're really about financial wellness for pro beauty and like industries with our Money Pro course. Money Pro Financial Wellness Program. It is an opportunity to help your employees and also to help you as an employer to improve recruitment, retention, offer a benefit that your employees will love, and one that could be a point of difference for you to recruit and retain your team members. Some of the things that we teach in this course is the difference between compensation and paycheck, which is the cause of many angst between employer and employees, confusion, resulting at times people leaving the industry, leaving their jobs, whatever. So education can do a lot. Also, our Money for Students program, we continue to grow that. We're up to over 100 campuses now. We're thrilled about that. The 9 Grid is a very big piece to this course in terms of outlines. Each module has one. All right, to prosper, manage your ATM, your attention, time, and money, the 3 currencies we have in life. It's not lost on me that you're spending your precious time with us today, so thank you. Past recordings are on YouTube. We welcome the school community as well as salons and spas. We are welcoming Ronan back. Ronan has already gotten $1 million light bulb. And so Ronan, and I'm going to show one other thing. Ronan, I'm going to ask you to share your screen at your request, okay? But you're going to be sharing some data in a little bit. But tell us a little bit about this light bulb and and what your family thinks of the $1 million light bulb. I think you're still on mute there, Ronan.
So hi, Tom. Hi, good to see everyone again. Those of you who were on the last time I was on, but so I have your light bulb on my mantelpiece there, and I'm honest. I actually had it there the whole time, not just because I'm on today, but my kids keep trying to open it and take the money out. So you said you might send me another one, and I was like, yeah, definitely, because now I can give them one each to each kid. So
there you go. So hopefully members of our team are listening on this, and maybe we'll have to send Ronan something a little extra for the kids. How many kids do you have again?
Well, 3, but one is very small, so
okay,
he won't mind.
We had a great chance to get to know you back in February. It's February 17th. And for those of you that weren't around to listen, or if you were around, you should definitely listen to YouTube, because I think it's really an amazing story, Ronan, and how we got into the technology business and sort of the values that the company was driven by, as well as just the organic nature of founding a technology company that was really very much about filling a need. And to a great degree, Ronan, it was really marketing related. So fast forward to today, and I've been dying to have you back as a guest. I know you're a busy guy. You have over almost 300 employees, and you're off in Dublin. So thanks for joining us today. Much appreciated.
Yeah, and I'm delighted. And yeah, like, because I think the last day, we were chatting about, well, you were asking the question around my story, how I got into it and where it came from, and marketing and values. And it's great today to kind of share more helpful information for people on the call that they can go and take with them, some insights that they can think about their own business and about next year, and how they could, go to the next stage or the next level in their business in terms of marketing and other things like that.
Well, you were sharing some information during the prep call, and I was blown away. I thought, wow, I've seen a lot of marketing related research and what have you, but some of the things that I found out from you that came out of this study is fascinating. So let's talk about the study a little bit. So how many companies were involved in it?
So basically, we've been doing this for a while, but this one was the biggest one we do, so we've about 2,000 salons across the US would use Forest as their software. So, they're obviously tracking all their customers. But what we're doing is, that we've been doing for the last few years, is not just collecting feedback from salon owners or all of you guys, but actually from the end consumer, and going through the salon to ask the end consumer, what they want to see from their salon. And we pick up insights of changes in consumer behavior that directly relate to premium or prestige type salons, or salons that want to be at that higher level. And yeah, the results are fascinating all the time, but the results in the last few months, we talked about 4 of them, and I think all 4, they're very different points, but I think they're all really, really interesting. And they certainly gave me loads of food for thought, and they gave us in Forest ideas of what we could do, but some of them just relate straight to a salon. If you hear some of this stuff tomorrow, you can go and spend an hour or 2, or get someone in your team to spend an hour or 2 to improve your business. And so yeah, looking forward to sharing them with everyone.
Let's dig right in. And the very first one you shared with me was I believe that you said that less than 0.1% or something like that are doing this, but 100% should do it. So and I'll leave it up to you whether you want to share your screen or talk through.
Yeah, no, well, I might as well, because it's visual. It makes it a bit more visual for people to hang on if they have any questions. This might trigger some other thoughts.
All right, well, take it away.
So I see questions coming in. I will get back to them after. Don't worry. I think Amanda asked me a question there. So let me share my screen.
And I do want to acknowledge you also while you're pulling your screen up on another subject. I know that I do want to thank you for being a sponsor of the compensation study. I want to make sure I didn't forget mentioning that. So that's really important to get behind this. So thank you for that, for you and the Forest team.
Yeah, 100%. like we know, and like not just in the US, but like worldwide, this is a huge issue. Like governments don't understand how much our industry is worth. And like, unfortunately, that's the way they think, right? They think based on, they look at things on a monetary value, not always on the, the good that like an industry like the salon industry does for people, or how it makes them feel better, their peace of mind, their wellness, all that kind of stuff. They don't take into account any of that, and they just look at the numbers. But then our numbers are much higher than they look, right?
Yeah.
So like that's a big challenge, because we're actually much bigger impact financially as well when they don't see it. So I think this is the kind of stuff, the whole work that you're doing around compensation is absolutely critical for the industry. So as soon as we heard it, we were like, we have to support that,
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. All right, let's get into some of the data here.
Yeah. So can everyone see my screen? Just get a thumbs up for one, two. But yeah.
Good to go.
So,
Yep.
okay. So we surveyed 1,300 consumers, and these are all consumers. So wide selection. So we're talking about, any age, people from like sort of mid-20s up to into their 70s. So, the wide cohort of customers that you would have in your salons. And it's a random selection across those 2,000 salons. So it captures lots of different people, and it's a large enough sample size that we can really rely on some of the insights that are coming from it. So you need at least 1,000 responses for anything like this to be valid, So the first thing is search has changed. Okay, so just talking about that, just checking everyone can still see my screen. So traditionally, when people look for salons, right? So you have referrals and recommendations and all those things. Everyone knows about that. But when people search for salons online, and more people are doing that, they use Google. Everyone knows that, right? But how people use Google is actually changing, and it's changing quite rapidly. And it's really important that everybody on this call is aware of that and adapts to it quicker, because right now, less than 0.1% of salons across the country have actually adapted to this yet. So I'll go through and explain what it is. So first of all, it's a lot of people search for local salons, right? So they search in things like Google Maps and things like that and people are probably aware of that. But what people may not be aware of is that over 20% for the first time, because this number was less than 15% last time we checked, it's now over 21%, and it's rising rapidly. We expect it to be even higher next year. Because this is a trend that we're seeing not just in salons, but we're seeing this in consumer behavior generally with local businesses. Okay, so people are searching for the name of an exact service that you do. So they're searching for balayage as opposed to where is that salon. Okay, they're searching for I want a Davines salon or Kerastase salon. They're using things like terminology relating to services or products that the salon does when they're searching. You guys might be aware of that. I don't know if you are, but even if you are aware of it, the big question is like, what are you going to do about it? So there's something called Google Merchant Center, and just if I could get a show of hands, just maybe with the thumbs up, icon on the, on Zoom there. How many people here have heard of Google Merchant Center out of interest?
Yeah, try to weigh in if you can, guys. Let's see how many of you heard of this. I think you got a handful. 2, 3, maybe.
Yeah,
okay.
But to be honest, that's what I expected. Okay, because it's very rare that people know what Google Merchant Center is. But if there's one thing that you could take away from this call today with me and Tom, is if you just take this away, okay, what Google Merchant Center is, and do something about it tomorrow or this afternoon. So Google Merchant Center is how Google learns what you do. So traditionally, Google knows who you are because it scrapes the internet, and if you've got a website, it picks it up. And so if your salon is called like Bellissimo or whatever it's called, and somebody searches for Bellissimo in Nevada, let's say, it can find all the Bellissimos in Nevada because they all have a website, and that's how it knows who they are. Okay, so that's how Google knows like who you are. But what Google doesn't know is it doesn't know what you do. And that's the thing that's changing, because as we've seen, people are searching for services or products for what you do. And those websites are very bad traditionally at explaining that back to Google. And so Google has this thing called Google Merchant Center, and it's free to use. You can just Google Merchant Center. If you have a local Google account already, which most of you will have, because you'll have some, you know, if people search Google Maps, you're on it probably. If you're not, you need to set that up, which is very quick to do as well. But you probably have a Google account, even if because you're registered on that. And if you use that Google account to log into Google Merchant Center, you can start uploading the names of the services you do. So, you know, if you do balayage, color, hair extensions, whatever it is, and the products you use as well. So whatever the brands of products you use, things like that, you upload that into Google Merchant Center. Google now knows what you do, not just who you are. And that's free to do for everyone. But right now, less than 0.1%, like, you know, basically nobody. There may be one or two people on this call who have, but like the vast majority of salons that I talk to haven't, and you need to, and it's free. So you can do that this afternoon, or you can do it tomorrow. Get someone, you do it yourself, or get someone in the salon, get them onto this, get them spend a few hours and get this set up. When Google knows what you do through Google Merchant Center, your results in Google will now rank higher than all other search results. So they rate stuff from the Google Merchant Center higher than the stuff that they scrape from the internet, if that makes sense. And so if you combine that with reviews as well, so that Google loves reviews, it loves knowing what you do through Merchant Center, and then obviously your website, you're making your search results way more powerful and way more specific to what people are actually looking for. So that's the first thing, or the main, you know, if there's one thing you take from today, that would be it. So I don't know if anyone has any questions on that or anything, Tom, or how you want to do that.
Well,
we go to the next
why don't we have them post it in the chat, and then
I'll open up the chat.
Well, you can even respond to them towards the end. We'll keep moving.
Yeah.
If people have questions, put it in the chat and you can answer at the end.
Yeah, we'll answer them at the end. Yeah.
Huge takeaway. Yep.
Yeah. So okay. So this one is less like, that's a really tangible thing that everyone on the call can do something about. Okay. This is more of an interesting thing to think about, and there is things you could do from it as well. When me and Tom were talking about it earlier, he had ideas as well. So how much does price matter in picking salon? So you guys probably know this already. Okay, you probably know that referrals are more important to somebody when choosing a salon than price, or that convenience is actually slightly less important than price, but maybe about the same. So 26% for convenience. Your reputation is the most important thing apart from a referral, but a referral is a reputation anyway, right? So if someone refers you, they're basically giving you the thumbs up and that endorsement and that reputation. So those top two are very linked, as I'm sure you all know. But the question about all this stuff is what you guys are doing about all these things. So if you know these are the four major factors when a customer is booking with you or finding you for the first time, what are you doing around those things? And I'm like, we could spend ages going through each one and coming up with different ideas, and I'm sure you guys could do that yourselves. You're probably already doing certain things around some of these, but I wanted to jump into one particular one and kind of discuss that. So the question that we asked was, how much does price influence how often you come back? And so we know, look, at the end of the day, we know price isn't the most important thing, and it shouldn't be. You know, like your quality of service, reputation, all these things are much more important. But what I found interesting was people rate price at like 30% when they looking for a salon, but when they come back, if they rebook in the salon or they rebook with a stylist or whoever it is, how they feel is 3 times more important than how much it costs. So way more important than all the other factors by like a large magnitude. So price becomes way more important for the rebooking. Again, you guys might know this. I'm sure most of you, like if you don't actually know it or talk about it, you probably inherently know it. So I'm not telling you something you don't know right now. But the question I would ask is, what are you doing about that? Is how they feel the most important thing. So when that guest after the first visit walks out that door, how they feel about you is the most important thing about whether they become a regular customer. And what are you doing about that? Not what are you doing about what you did that day in the salon, like the quality of, your team was excellent, like really good customer service, all that kind of stuff. You made sure to show them what products they use, and you did all that great stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like they've left the salon, and how they feel is the most important thing about how good your business is really going to do or grow in the future. And what are you doing about that? And I think some people probably are doing stuff, people will be posting stuff in there. But what I would say is, are you asking every single customer how they feel afterwards? And is every stylist or service provider in your business looking at that every day? Are they looking at, I had 10 customers yesterday, this is how they felt, and learning from that specific question? Because how they felt is way more important than, did you think the place was tidy? Like, all those questions are matter as well, but how they felt is more important. And that's the question you need to ask. How did you feel? And you'll be amazed at the information you get back and how quickly anybody will learn from that, particularly new people. Like if you have somebody who's really, just recently qualified or trained and things like that, where they're really learning the game, they'll learn obviously much faster because they have more to learn. But are they being given that feedback every day after they've had 5 visits or 6 visits the day before, and 2 of them have told them how they feel? They listen to that every day for a month. You will probably, you'll learn what other people can learn in years, sporadically. So that's just another interesting point there.
I think this is a really important finding also. And, you may say, they may already know this. Well, maybe not. And the word feel is, it really jumped out at me when you said that. It's really using a term to describe the emotional connection. And, this is also actionable. What happens after an appointment, in the language that is used. So I think this is also a significant finding that's also very actionable. I love it. Let's go on to the next one.
Yeah. I wasn't going to do this one because I think a lot of people would know that one. And that one, I'm going to do this one, which I think. I thought this one was really interesting. So where do guests want to get their retail? So we asked those 1,300 people. These are 1,300. Some of them are new customers, but some of them were like going to the salon for 15 years. So it was a proper spectrum. Where did they get their retail? So a bunch of customers, like a large number, have never bought retail from their salon. But of those people that had never bought from their salon, 54% of them wanted to. So I'm just going to repeat that a couple of times, because like, honestly, when I read it, I was like, really? Like, so basically, if you've got like a large chunk, I think it was nearly half of those 1,300 people had never bought a product from the salon, but over half of those wanted to. So that means that every single salon out there has a ton of customers that want to buy from them and aren't. And I think people don't. Some of you, again, will know this, but in my experience, when I talk to a lot of people, they don't think that. They think that, their impression is that the people who are buying, and everyone else they've got to sell to. And that's not actually the case. There's a ton of people out there, a ton, like 54%. So half your customers, let's say it's 1 in 4 customers want to buy from you, but aren't right now. And what are you going to do about that? Because you don't have to hire a new service provider. It's tough, finding service providers right now. This is extra revenue to be generated without hiring anyone new, all those kind of things. Again, it's obvious, but sometimes it's worth repeating. But something that I found really, like the thing that really blew my mind was this fact about retail, which is 41%. So 41% of those 1,300 people, so something like 600, just over 600 of them, wanted their salon to send them refills. So they wanted their salon to send the refills. And as a matter of interest, how many people here send out refills? Because I've actually only met one salon that actually does that, like automatically sends out refills. So just if someone could post in the chat, like just if they do, because I'm presuming everyone says no, but
I'm blown away by this one too. And yes, well, he said one requested, yes. Requested.
Yeah, but so Heath, yeah. you're definitely ahead of the game there. But how do you get requests? Because like obviously you might get the odd customer asking you a request. The key here is it's 41% of your customers, so it's like nearly half. And so what all this is telling us, like this and the thing you heard before, like there's loads of customers that want to buy from you but aren't, maybe because it's easier just to buy from Amazon or whatever, or you people who want refills. They all want to buy that from like they have a relationship with their salon that's way deeper with their stylist, service provider, or salon, that they have a way deeper relationship there than they do with some multinational, Sephora, whoever it is, right? So they have a much deeper relationship, so they want to buy from you, but they can only do that if you make it easy for them, right? If it's hard to do, like you'll get you'll get somebody ringing in and asking for it and everything. And that's fantastic. That's even a sign, like it's not amazing that it's easier for that person to go online somewhere else, but they will ring and give their credit card details over the phone to get it sent to them. That's how much, like most people aren't going to bother doing that, even if they want to do something. So that number is not going down. We never asked that question before, but that number is not going down. That number is going to be higher. It's probably higher today than it was 3 months ago when we got this information, and it'll probably be higher next year. So that number is going up. You know that if you've got like 5,000 customers on your database, I don't know how many some of you guys have, maybe more than that. Even if you've 1,000, 41% of them want to get, that's 400 products every couple of months they want to get on refill. Start thinking about this. I don't have an easy solution for this. Like I don't, there's not like a Google Merchant Center that's just suddenly going to create this. But as a business owner with all these customers that love your business, wanting to spend money with you, that doesn't require hiring more people to do it. You've got to figure this out somehow. I was saying how this information is really useful for you guys, and it's really useful for us as well. So out of all this survey, this jumped out the most, and we were like, we need to solve that problem for salons, because we need them. This is going up that way. We need to make sure that we can help them do that. So in January, for example, we're launching a brand new thing to solve this problem. But like if you use Forest, you'll get that. If you don't use Forest, that's fine. You can solve it another way. I'm sure you can. And first of all, you've got to have some sort of e-commerce thing, all right? But it's not just e-commerce. It's the fact that when someone buys a product from you, that 6 weeks later, they get a prompt to buy that automatically. Again, that specific product. Like that's basically what you got to do. And there's other ways you can do that. So I just want to kind of put that one out there. It's the one I'm most kind of excited about.
Well, I think what it does is it addresses a lot of the challenges that small businesses in this space have. Human capital, predictability of revenue, balance in service revenue with non-service revenue. There's just a lot of reasons why this works. I love this one too. I think that this one is very actionable, and it's a way to grow your revenue stream outside the walls of your business. All right, let's have you take the share off the screen. This is really good stuff, Ronan.
We're getting good. And I think just there's one question there I think is related to it before I think we have one more. But beauty boxes, like that's another element of this. Like my personal opinion is that you see these companies doing these beauty boxes, like people would sign up for that from a salon. Now it's hard to do. I'm not saying it's easy to do, but you can imagine if you were sending everyone a refill every 6 weeks and you just put in another little sample of something else with that refill, and you're doing that on a regular basis and people are paying a subscription for it or whatever they are, you can imagine you can build a really nice revenue stream that's repeatable, like Tom said, but you could also, it's also extra commission theoretically for your service providers, and it's regular extra income for them. So if they're getting, if they're getting 10% or something for every person that gets signed up to that, that's extra revenue for them. It's going to make you hang on to your top service providers longer because it's new income that they probably wouldn't, like, for example, if they went booth rent, they're not going to be able to do that because they're not going to have the scale as a single individual that you as a salon business would have. And so it's benefits, it's kind of using the benefits of the fact that you might be larger to generate extra revenues that wouldn't be possible. So, and then pay people as a result of that too. So anyway, so I just one more, Tom, and then you can, yeah.
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah.
Yep.
Actually, sorry, that was actually the last one. So the one, I just have another one, which I just thought would be interesting to share, Tom. It's not like on the same level as those, but it is interesting. We ask this every year, how many of you would like to book on the day? So rebook on the day. So, you finish your service, rebook on the day. Like, these are the basics. This is like salon 101. I worked as like as a front of house for a year in a salon. That's how I got into the industry. So this is all, 101 stuff that you learn on your first day. But like, you need to rebook people. But like, you'd be amazed. And like the 2,000 salons we work with tend to be, they're larger salons. We don't work with the micro business. We tend to only work with businesses with a good number of service providers or above. And 40% of people want to rebook on the day, but only 21% do. So again, it's something your customers want to do something and you're not doing it. It's like they want to buy the products from you, but they're not, because whatever reason. They want to rebook, but they're not. And like, that's what we found really interesting. Like, we take the data of what they want to do, and then we look at the data of what they actually do, and we put those together, So that 40% one comes from the survey. The 21% comes from the data in the actual system of what actually happens. So you get to see the disconnect. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just thought that was interesting for people to think about as well,
Great stuff, Ronan. I love this, and thanks for sharing. I've got a couple other topics for you that are unrelated to the marketing research, and then it'd be great for you to weigh in. So, we've talked a lot about a career in beauty. I'm looking at a guy that was at the front desk person that now is a global technology company. Let that sink in a minute. So you were a front desk guy. It's not like you had millions in the reserve.
No.
But a front desk guy, a global technology company, over 300 people. What a story, right?
Yeah,
So.
when you put it like that, Tom. Yeah.
Well,
does sound good. But you know what I thought was amazing is like front of house, because like sometimes people say like, oh, we build for hairdressers, we're hairdressers building for hairdressers or something like that, which is absolutely true for for a load of things. But for a software company like us, where we're building, like, it's like the hub of what's actually happening in the salon. It's not the hub of the service, it's the hub of the business. And actually it's front of house, we're front of house people building tools for front of house people. Like, do you know what I mean? That's a lot of what we do. And I think a lot of the time, in my experience, and people on this may disagree or not, like the front of house is where you learn the business. You don't just learn a salon business, you learn business, because it's like keeping customers happy, making sure everyone's utilized, making sure the staff are all properly organized, like making sure that, there's enough money coming in. You're cashing up at the end of the day. You've more coming in that's going out. You have to do that. The owner often asks you, can you do some marketing, or you have to go and do the marketing. You might have to go and do the payroll. Like, you're having to do all it's like a bird's eye view of what's happening in the business. So it's an amazing place. I found an amazing place to learn the business. I think if I'd been trained as a hairdresser or something like that, I don't think I'd have learned the business anywhere as quickly as I did doing front of house, So I just thought I was interesting. But it also affects for business, because it's like you actually learned about business. So when you go and have your own business, even though it's not technically a salon business, I know it works for salons, but it's not. you actually, there's loads of things you know that that you've kind of just soaked in with osmosis or something. And again, when you're talking about careers, like it's a fantastic way to start. Like the amount of salon owners of good salons that started front of house as well, right? Like there's loads of them. We've met so many. I know yeah, it looks like you might have some even on the call here.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. Like this, it's such a, you know, it's such a good entry into it. So it's not just like, there's obviously, we want stylists and we need more estheticians and we need more of these people going into these professions, but we also need people wanting to go into front of house as well.
So I admire your culture. I've gotten to know you and your people, and you know, technology is it's a tough competitive space you're in. There's a lot of POS companies. I've seen several of them now have billion-dollar valuations and private equity and roll up after roll up, you know, whatever. And you're still privately held company out of Dublin. And I love the values, you know, so we're going to go over to values a little bit in culture. And you got 3 values. Why don't you go through your values? I'm particularly interested in the final one, as you listed them off to me, the one that is an Irish word that I won't be able to pronounce.
Yeah, well, like I totally believe in having values in business, because it's worked out really well for me and us in Forest. And we've had just 3 values. So we only have 3 because people remember 3 as well. So if you have more than 3, I found, I'm not saying it's wrong or right, there's no right or wrong answer when it comes to values, but like if you have 7 or 8 values, people won't remember them all, even though they might all be wonderful. Like people aren't going to remember them all, but people will remember 3. Just 3 of anything is easier to remember, right? So that's the first thing. We only have those 3. And we've hired against those 3. And those 3 are, like it was, like we were talking about earlier, like 2 of them are quite self-explanatory. One is can-do attitude. So we tend to hire people who've got that can-do attitude, want to get stuff done, get stuck into things. And that's definitely part of our culture. And it could well be part of many of your cultures as well. The second one is a growth mindset. So a lot of people that join our company, probably similar to some of your businesses too, are like when I started, like they don't necessarily have the qualifications for, you know, the expansion in roles. They've got to have a kind of open mind and want to learn, and then they grow into it and they level up over time. And in our experience, if you hire people like that, you can move mountains. Whereas you can spend fortune hiring people with amazing CVs and everything, and they don't necessarily get the stuff done to the same level, you know. So it's like, so that growth mindset is a big one for us. And then the third one is, we call it Service Gehintoch, which is the Gaelic or Irish for a sort of, it's fantastic service, but it's more than that. It's kind of like an Irish welcome or something. And you don't have to be Irish to do an Irish welcome, but it's more like, it's more than just a normal, we're customer focused. Because I think everybody says, one of our values is customer focused, like, but that sounds so boring, and everybody says that. So by saying it in Irish, it means more. Like people are like, well, what does that mean? And you get to describe what it means. It means something extra. And people either have that in their DNA or not. Like I think people either want to serve others or they don't. And it's not right or wrong, because there's lots of jobs out there that don't involve serving others. And it's really important you have really skilled people doing those jobs. But in our business, like we're serving salons and salon owners and front of house people and stylists and therapists and things. So you want to serve others. If you want to serve others, you do really well in our company, and you know, everyone respects you, you know what I mean? So it's like part of the culture. And I think that's where values lead to. So
I was going to ask you to type in the chat, but JP from our team is already ahead of us.
Yeah, she spelled it correctly and everything. Wonderful.
Nice job, JP. Did you actually know that? I want to know from JP if she knew that or if she looked it up real quickly. That's impressive, JP. So Ronan, I love my conversations with you. I tell you, I think that the insights from the consumer research is fascinating. It's also very actionable. And some of it is, you know, I'd almost call shocking in terms of different actionable things to come out of it. So I love the consumer research, and then also just love getting sort of your take on things and your approach and entrepreneurship and you know, sharing your values and some of the things related with your culture is one of the many things I admire about you and the business you created as an entrepreneur. So thank you. I know this is, I don't even know what time it is. Was it dinner time out there?
Well, there's about 3 or 4 questions there. Will I quickly take them? Thanks, Tom.
Yeah,
Really
but wait a minute, is
really
it dinner time? What time is it there, by the way?
we're coming up to 5 p.m. So
All right,
still
sounds
working,
great.
still working day.
All right.
But there's a couple of questions there because Amanda Bowden asked about please make an accounting software open where you can have multiple licenses on one computer. That is coming, Amanda. It'll be out in the new year. We've been working on it for a long time. So just keep your eyes peeled for that in the new year. And actually, if you send me, or if you put your email address into the chat or something, or I'll put my email address there. If you send me an email, I'll add you to a group so that you get notified about that, Amanda. And then yeah, Georgina asked, can you promote consulting services or classes or just products? If I presume this is to do with Google Merchant Center, and the answer is yes. Just put everything in under products. Christine Booher asked, are you saying Google Merchant Center to add our services under product area? Yes. Google doesn't care if it's a product or service. It just cares that that's how it thinks about what you do. So if you write in balayage into product, if somebody searches for balayage, they're going to find it there, if that makes sense. And then Robert Reed said, you know, might Ronan share the slideshow? Yeah, I'll happily share those slides if you want to. Tom has them, or if I put my email in there, if you email me, I'll just email
We can,
it back to you.
we like to protect our guests so that when they're done, they're done with our session. We'll take care of that for you. Thank you.
Whatever you guys want to do with that. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that, is there more?
Well, James wants to have Guinness with you. So hopefully we're going to see you over here. I'm going to put a little plug to have you join us at the Phil next May. And then James, you and I also
we have an event. We have an event in January, on January 8th and 9th in Dublin, and we have about 100 people coming over from the US for it. So, and there is free Guinnesses all around. So you should, you know, have a think about that.
Well, that's an offer that James and many of us cannot refuse. All right, let's everybody give a virtual round of applause for Ronan. Thank you very much. This is awesome. You will have another $1 million light bulb crossing over the ocean.
I'll tell my kids. Yeah.
And for our team, if you could please send an extra 3 million to the group to take care of the family, I'm sure that we'd appreciate that. So Ronan, thanks again. We'll have you as a guest.
Take care, guys.
Thank you.